Well, if you take a snapshot of where we were, in '72, when we were offered the chance of joining with Britain, the European community as it then was, of course, we had a close frontier. And it's not to say that indeed our European Union membership has only been instrumental for the sort of shift into the private sector or indeed our prosperity, because a lot of other factors have also contributed to that. But to a very large extent, the opening of the frontier and indeed our EU membership post the mid-'80s and indeed the '90s has allowed a diversification of our private sector, a great surge in financial services, and indeed has brought to Gibraltar prosperity.
In what ways has the EU been less good for Gibraltar?
Well, it's been less good, I think, when people look at the European Union, and of course it's got its flaws. It's a big beast, and it's been getting bigger. And the larger it is, with so many states, the more difficult it is to provide that degree of cohesive governance. That brings with it certain flaws. And in Gibraltar, for example, we have felt, I think, a sense of legitimate frustration that despite our European Union membership with Spain, that there has been these frontier queues that we have seen in the mid-'90s, for example, in particular, very bad examples of those, even though we have both been members of the European Union, that we have not been able to deliver those real benefits. But, those are flaws, but in a wider picture, in the bigger picture of what the EU has meant for Gibraltar, I think it has brought good things for Gibraltar. So, of course, it's not, it's with a sense of sadness to leave.
Next up is the transition period in which the Chief Minister and his team will have to negotiate the best deal for Gibraltar. How optimistic are you?
I'm realistic. I think that's the word, I think. We have said that the government has our support in negotiating the best possible deal. We know, realistically, that we are doing so in a very difficult situation, in the sense that part of what we want as our primary objective is an objective which is diametrically opposed to that of the UK, freedom of movement. The UK wants to put high on its list the end of freedom of movement, and it wants to barter trade benefits, but it doesn't want to give concessions of freedom of movement. So we enter into that negotiation, and we hope that the government can lobby hard to make sure that the British government recognise our unique differences as the only British territory as part of the mainland Europe, and that we are protected in that sense, and that our key objectives are ring-fenced and protected, so that we don't have a one-size-fits-all solution, because one size does not fit all the British parts of this negotiation. So we are hopeful and we are confident, but I also think that we need to do the parallel track planning of planning for life outside the EU without a deal, so that we ensure that our survival as a community.